Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bittner and Ash Paulson to discuss all the news, or at least some of it, from the latest Nintendo Direct. So let's get started. Alright guys, I have no where to get started with this. We got Majora's Mask 3D, we got Duck Hunt Wii U trailer, including a stage announcement and Virtual Console edition of Duck Hunt. We've got Mario Kart 8 DLC tracks, Hyrule Warriors Amiibo support, Splatoon Single-Player. This is nuts! That's not even covering, that's barely half of it. What did you guys think of this? What did you think of this Direct?
This is definitely one of the better Directs that have come out of Nintendo recently. And it's perfectly timed, too, because this is kind of letting everyone know, hey, there is life after Smash Brothers.
What?
No, that's the sense I got, too. I mean, basically this Direct was Nintendo coming out and saying, yeah, Smash Brothers is coming out, yeah, everybody's excited for it, but here's stuff that we have coming out as soon as as soon as spring next year, and not even just the random spring release date that a lot of people give. No, we have February for Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, so maybe not anything in January, but we'll have at least something in February, and plenty more coming down the line. This is... it really did seem like a very confident Nintendo is like, okay, here's our games.
Yeah, it absolutely did. As we've said before, Derek, you and I have been busier than I think we've ever been before. Mm-hmm. There's so much coming out from Nintendo, so much coming up from Nintendo, and this Direct really did drive that point home. And it began with a bang. For me, of course, one of my favorite announcements was Majora's Mask 3D. And at first, I didn't even recognize the first few scenes. I'm like, what is this? And then as soon as I went to the underground area, I'm like, oh, it's Majora's Mask. Awesome.
It's super exciting because, as I've said many times, it's one of the few Zeldas I've never played. I'm so excited to finally play this game. I didn't give it a fair shake the first time I played it because of the whole time system. I couldn't get my head wrapped around it. This is my chance to give it a second chance, and I am so excited to play it because it looks fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it really is about time, and I'm glad I can finally stop being wrong about predicting it, because I predicted this, announcement for, how many times in a row now, and we thought it was going to happen at E3, and it didn't, right. and all these other Directs, it didn't. Finally, it's happened, and I was like you, Andre, I couldn't quite place it at first. I thought it was Majora's Mask, but I was live tweeting the whole Direct, so right. I didn't want to jump the gun. But once I saw the torches, I knew, because those torches, they're from the 3D Zeldas.
Super
Ocarina.
distinctive.
So that's when I knew, and I'm like, oh my god, it's finally happening. And I love how they open with that. They're like, you know what? You know it's coming. Here it is. We're just going to open with that, and then we'll get to everything else after.
Yeah, it was a cold opening. There was no prologue to that. It was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's really surprising is it's not that far away. It's once again spring, and it really seems like they've kept the dark tone, at least visually, and maybe even enhanced it a bit from what I've seen of the N64 version.
Oh, the moon looks super creepy now.
Yeah,
looks great. And I can't wait to see that actually in 3D, being able to look up at the sky and seeing the moon, coming in at you as days go on, getting physically closer to your screen. I think it's gonna look great.
That's going to be super cool, and I don't know if you guys have seen the box art yet, at least the European box art, but it's got this really cool rear shot of the moon kind of looking back on Link menacingly, and it's awesome.
That sounds pretty great.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Speaking of Zelda and fear, I had a heart sink moment. I had a panic attack during this Direct because they were showing off Hyrule Warriors and how it would be connected with the Amiibos, and they said the Link Amiibo would gives the special spinner weapon from Twilight Princess, which is awesome. Even though Link has plenty of weapons as it is, let's spread the love as far as weapons are concerned. And then they said every single Amiibo will work with Hyrule Warriors. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh god, no. Because that essentially means we like to show that stuff off. I plan to get the Link Amiibo so I can show off the spinner weapon. That would mean I'd have to show off whatever they gave. Right. However, all they give is more materials, rupees, bonus stuff that are not substantive whatsoever. It's just a nice little bonus if you already have an Amiibo for another game. You can put it into Hyrule Warriors and just get a little bonus. But my god, when I thought there was unique content for every Amiibo, it's like, my poor wallet.
Well, yeah, we saw other Amiibo support too with Mario Kart 8, which I actually got to see for myself a few days ago, where you can scan in one of 10 Amiibo currently supported to unlock a costume for your Mii based on that character. So it seems like Nintendo is going with not just having unique gameplay mechanics like Smash is doing, but using it as basically unlocks or I guess some kind of reward for having Amiibo at all.
Right. I mean, honestly, the Mario Kart 8 Amiibo support's kind of disappointing. I mean, it just gives you themed racing suits for your Mii, which is kind of lame. Although I will admit that the Captain Falcon racing suit. I know, right? That'd actually be really cool.
GameXplain announced Captain Falcon.
The Captain Falcon suit's actually pretty cool because you get his whole mask and his eyes and everything, which is that's pretty fun. But honestly, yeah, the Mario Kart 8 Amiibo stuff is kind of throwaway in my opinion.
Captain Falcon probably is the one that's worth the most, especially because you also get the Blue Falcon. So it just have a complete set there.
Yeah.
That's true. And you even have the track as well, which is just one of 8 new tracks coming to Mario Kart 8. So we'll probably be giving this its own discussion in depth because I gotta play it, and we posted a bunch of videos already of the new tracks I gotta play. But what did you guys think of being able to see these tracks and all the DLC coming to Mario Kart 8?
I want to play them.
Right. Yeah, they look amazing. Like, especially Mute City. Mute City blew my mind. The the Dragon Run DLC track?
Dragon Driftway.
Dragon Driftway. That looks amazing. These are really good DLC courses, and I think we know all 8 tracks now, right?
We do, yeah. I mean, I showed them off all in my preview to some extent. So.
Okay. So what's interesting from that is that there's only 3 returning tracks, and the rest are the 5 new tracks.
I don't mind that ratio. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I am too, and I'm with you, Derek. Mute City or whatever it actually is called looks awesome. I love all the F-Zero love. Hyrule Castle looks really cool, but I'm really happy with the short snippet that they showed of Rainbow Road SNES, just because I like how they're bringing it up to kind of parity with the 64 and new versions in terms of the background. It looks like it's going to be a really beautiful stage to play on, and I can never get enough of that track in Mario Kart 7 either, so I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, I'm with you. I loved everything I saw. I loved everything I've played of it, and we'll be talking about this much more in depth. Plus, it comes out not even that long. So
yeah, really.
Now, something else they showed off in the trailer that was kind of surprising was more Splatoon, and not just that, but actually a whole single-player campaign for it. Which I think some of us expected, but it was still kind of surprising just to see in general. And it looks to be like it's going to be pretty robust. What did you guys think of seeing more of that?
They sold me on it. I mean, I was already very likely to get it in the first place just because it was a ton of fun when we got to try it at E3. But to have a whole single player and buffer that little bit, because I love a single player campaign. I love going through that stuff on my own because you're not always in the mood to play with other people. Mm-hmm. So to have both of those and have such a robust multiplayer, have a single player in there that there's some really crazy looking enemies, and they're really using this paint mechanic to the fullest. The traversal elements, the platforming, the shooting, it doesn't feel tacked on at all. This feels like a robust single player just from that trailer.
Yeah, I was sold on Splatoon the second I played it with you, Andre, at E3. I mean, we had so much fun playing that, and I'm super excited about it. And the single-player campaign, the Octobot army, the villain, they actually look kind of creepy. They're kind of cool looking. I like their whole style, and someone on Twitter made a really good point about how Ness should be in the game because of the marauding Octobot in Earthbound. They look pretty similar, I think the design of the villains is really cool, and I'm super excited about playing Splatoon, both single player and multiplayer.
I will say, after seeing more of Splatoon and all of its personality that it's showing, if Smash Brothers has more DLC beyond Mewtwo, I really want Squid Little Girl to be in there.
Really needs to not be taken out of context, but yes, having the Inkling from Splatoon and Smash Brothers would be very cool.
That actually would be awesome, and they will play very distinctly. Mm-hmm. And actually, while we're on the topic of Smash Brothers, Duck Hunt, man, they showed him off, and I got to play him at the Nintendo event a few weeks ago. Even though I wasn't supposed to talk about it, and I didn't. But I did allude to the fact that he looked awesome in the Wii U version,
right?
And you can finally see that here, and he does. So he was accidentally unlocked by someone there, so that's why I got to try him. I love everything about this guy, how he looks in the Wii U one. Like, I think he really does show off, like, how much better this game does look on Wii U, obviously. But it shows why, like, how it's enhancing him personally. And I thought the trailer itself was just great.
I have to say, this opinion might be unpopular, but I think Duck Hunt himself or themselves look really cool in the Wii U version. They look great. But the trailer itself, I wasn't really feeling it that much. I mean, it was good, but it didn't blow my mind with hype like Bowser Jr. did. And it has nothing to do with the fact that we already knew about them, because Bowser Jr.'s trailer blew my mind, even though we already knew about him. But Duck Hunt's trailers seem just kind of like, okay, cool. But I don't know, maybe that's just me, but...
Well, it's because, Bowser Jr., they went with an epic...
yeah.
It's a battle.
Yeah.
Whereas here they went for the more cartoony, cutesy type of trailer. Because Duck Hunt is a comedic character.
Right, but I mean they did that for Pac-Man too, and I thought Pac-Man's trailer was more interesting, or I don't know. It just didn't. It's not one of my most exciting trailers, in my opinion.
I think it does come to the fact that we knew about him before, because we had an inkling about Pac-Man before, and then it came in. And you're right, it's not the hypest trailer, but it does it so well because we were hoping for it and it finally got revealed.
Right.
If they had done Duck Hunt with nobody knowing anything about him actually being in the game, it would have been amazing. I would have been freaking the hell out. It would have,
That's very true.
It would have. It is a product of people already knowing about it. So I agree. I wasn't quite as excited for it because it was. We already saw it coming, and it just didn't do anything too outlandish. Although I did like all the 2D sprites coming up to them and all that good stuff. And
I did like that. Yeah,
they are so adorable. I want more games with them because they're so expressive, and they look amazing. And yeah.
Well, and you are actually getting a re-release on that note, because they did tell us that Duck Hunt is getting re-released on the Wii U Virtual Console and is compatible with the Wii Remote, which I think is kind of a cool announcement.
It is. So I wonder, is it just going to be an exact recreation of the original game, or basically a port, in other words, or are they going to update it, do you think? Like, it will be based on the original game, but might actually be its own thing.
They did say Virtual Console, so my guess is that it's going to just be a port that's been kind of, rejiggered to work with the Wii Remote.
See, I guess for me, I kind of wish they would just rebuild that game from the ground up. Same concept, but with the Wii Remote. Because so much of the original game was using the gun, and the Wii Remote will get close to that, but it won't be quite the same. So I think it'd be cool if they just took this as an opportunity to remake the whole thing. But with that said, I think it's cool that's coming regardless, and the fact that they do have to retrofit it to work with the Wii Remote is cool.
Well, they really do need to retrofit it because you had sort of an aiming reticule with the original gun, and there's no such thing for with a pointer.
Right.
So I think they might have to put a reticule on the screen itself to actually aim at the ducks. Which might downgrade it a bit because the challenge was aiming.
What you're saying is that we need a spiritual sequel to Link's crossbow training in the form of Duck Hunt Zapper training.
Actually, yes. I really liked crossbow training, so I would be totally on board with that. Okay. I was a big fan of that game. It was better than Twilight Princess, so...
Dang! Shots fired.
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily disagree. Twilight Princess was kind of... Yeah.
I never played it, so I have no idea. But no, I'm with you, Andre. I would love to see a new Duck Hunt game retrofitted for that.
So we actually got a taste of that in Wii Play Motion, or whatever the hell that game was called. Where they had the shooting game, you did see ducks fly by occasionally that you could shoot. So they could take, it's that same basic idea, just, make that your own game.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think of Duck Hunt stage?
I don't know. I mean, we barely saw anything of it. I love that it exists. I don't know how it's going to play. I mean, we can see that the Duck Hunt dog, the 8-bit version, will appear in the background. It's hard to tell much else about it. It looks like the ducks will fly around, maybe, so maybe you have to watch out for being shot. I did notice there's like this grass in the bottom left corner that seems to move. So I don't know if that's because it was shot, or if you can hide behind the scenery at points. I think that'd be cool if you could hide behind the scenery.
Yeah.
To dodge out of the battle for a few seconds or something. I really don't know.
I think it's really cool that Duck Hunt's getting its own stage in the Wii U version, and I think we can kind of glean how it would play just by thinking of a lot of the other retro stages in Brawl and 3DS. I mean, 75M, Balloon Fight. These stages kind of use old retro elements from those games as hazards. So I'm thinking that the ducks, either themselves flying around, will be hazards, or that if you happen to be in front of one when they're shot from with the zapper from off the TV screen, let's say, then you'll take some damage. So I think we can kind of have a pretty good idea of how this stage is going to work.
Yeah, that's my big fear, is that it's going to play like those other retro stages where it's very easy to get off screened. It's so tight, and that might be the problem with it. Although my idea still kind of works from before, where I thought I could start at the Duck Hunt level screen thing, and then gradually move and go into Hogan's Alley and the other light gun game that the Duck Hunt uses. And that'd be a way to make it a little bit different. Also, a traveling stage. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would like to see that. Otherwise, I like the look of it, but I have a feeling I might not actually like playing on it.
I like the look of it. I do kind of wish that they had gone with the more 3D look that we saw in the trailer. And maybe they could use the 8-bit version in the 3DS one, for instance. So, but I'm nitpicking now. I think it's cool that the stage is here, and I think there might be more to it than what we think right now. Especially because that grass in the corner is really throwing me off here. I did keep waiting throughout the trailer when they kept showing the person holding the zapper for this pan out and reveal who was holding it.
It was you.
That's right, it was me. Although, going off of that, in the European version, he's known as Duck Hunt Duo. Shouldn't it be Duck Hunt Trio?
Yeah, I guess in that sense it should be, yeah. I do think Duck Hunt Duo is a much better name than just Duck Hunt, because that's literally the name of the game. So now we're going to have Duck Hunt the character, Duck Hunt the stage, and then Duck Hunt the classic game. It really should just be Duck Hunt Duo. I
don't know why it's not. Europe has the right idea there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Now, speaking of multiplayer games, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse is getting co-op. 4-player co-op with the gamepad player, being able to still control Kirby, but also focus on the gamepad, while everyone else plays as a Waddle Dee. And they can even pick up Kirby and walk around with him. That way the gamepad player doesn't have to worry about platforming at all. I think that's awesome. That's a really good idea. It just lends itself so well to this game.
Yeah, I love Kirby Canvas Curse to death. I've said that before. It's one of my favorite games pretty much ever, especially on the DS. I'm so happy it's getting a sequel. And the fact that it's getting co-op with the 3 Waddle Dees, I'm loving it. I can't wait for this game.
Yeah, it looks really good. The graphical style is amazing. It's different also from what we've seen with the original and Epic Yarn. So that's really cool. And it's nice with this multiplayer mode that the TV screen will actually get used for somebody. Because that is my only problem with the game, is that I have to focus solely on the gamepad in order to play it, unless I get really good at just sort of estimating where I'm drawing at, which I guess is possible. You sort of have to train for that sort of thing now. But otherwise, yes, this looks amazing, and I am really hyped for Rainbow Curse. I can't wait to play it in February. So, Andre, I'm sure you got this question a lot on Twitter.
Oh God, I know where you're going with
this. How ready are you to look through 70 different levels of Captain Toad?
That's straight up not happening. There's so much to cover in this that we already won't have enough time to cover, even ignoring Captain Toad. And the fact that Captain Toad comes out in a week in Japan, I'd be done by that point. So, so that's not happening. But I will say I love what I've seen in this game, and we'll actually be covering more of this in depth soon, or perhaps more in depth, because I will be having more coverage of this very soon. I think tomorrow, in fact. So, So I think the game looks great. I love everything I've seen of it. I like everything I've played of it. I think it looks a lot better, or plays a lot better here than it did actually in Super Mario 3D World. It really does seem to be a full game with these full worlds that you can fully explore.
Well, and speaking of Super Mario 3D World, just from that trailer, it seems like there are snippets of full Super Mario 3D World levels in Captain Toad. Did you guys catch that? Yeah.
No, I was so busy covering stuff, I didn't watch the whole thing. So.
Yeah, it looked like at least Super Bell Hill was in there, or like the first level in 3D World, and also the silhouette level, like the first silhouette level where you're carrying the Piranha Plant. Right. It could have just been snippets of that level, or maybe they're new levels made to look like those levels, but it did seem like that there are some classic 3D World levels in there, which is strange.
Maybe. I think it might just be inspired, because we saw that same sort of thing with like the Japanese-inspired level from 3D World also make an appearance in Captain Toad. The level that Andre and I noticed as we were covering it, though, is the one based on classic Donkey Kong. That looks really cool, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they also showed off Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I'm excited about, even though I haven't finished Xenoblade Chronicles, but it is looking really good. It's looking massive.
Yeah, and it's looking like it's taking an overall different direction from Xenoblade Chronicles, because whereas that game is firmly rooted in a fantasy world, your main base, your hub world in X is New Los Angeles. And it almost seems like it takes place, or at least it's kind of more rooted in reality, which is an interesting direction. It's an interesting departure, because it's not really what I would have expected after Xenoblade.
Well, they had that scene where they're jumping around backyards in New Los Angeles. I'm like, it looks so out of place seeing this like typical RPG looking character jumping around like regular residential homes, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
It's hard to say what else is going on in the trailer, because it's basically just showing off more fighting the monsters and everything like that. But I am very excited. It's interesting it did not get a spring or even second quarter 2015, so I wonder if that means we won't see it until the third quarter.
Could be a holiday title. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm thinking we'll see, probably just because of localization, I'm thinking we'll see it in quarter 3 with Zelda in quarter 4. For that being the Wii U's biggest game next year. But yeah, I think we'll probably see Xenoblade Chronicles X as a summer release or a late summer release in 2015.
It'd be perfect for it. I think that's really good timing for it. Wasn't there another game that also had a summer? Oh, it was Splatoon that had a second quarter release date, which I think is another perfect time frame for that game. It's nothing comes out in summer, so this is perfect.
Well, not just that, but also Codename Steam getting its spring release date.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't care what anybody says. I am so hyped for this game. I cannot wait to play it. It has Abraham Lincoln. It has the Cowardly Lion from Oz. It has Tiger Lily from Peter Pan. And it has freaking Tom Sawyer. Yes, yes. This sounds so ridiculous and so awesome. I cannot wait to play it.
So I want to talk specifically about it, but I can't because I actually got to play it. But I will be on Friday with our preview coverage. So I'll be doing a lot more in-depth stuff there, including direct feed footage of the game. But yeah, based on what we saw here, I mean, it actually does make me more intrigued. Like at E3, I was pretty indifferent to it. I think that was partially a function of not knowing what it was going to be going in, and expecting perhaps more than what this title was going to be.
But we were expecting Majora's Mask. Straight up, or new Metroid.
That's it.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any final thoughts on anything we've talked about, or anything you want to point out that we haven't mentioned yet?
I do have two short final thoughts that are specific to the European Direct. First, Europe, I hate you because you're getting a limited edition Majora's Mask 3D, and it comes with like a pin and like a steelbook case, and I hate you guys for that.
That's just in a way watching out for your wallet, man.
I guess, but they don't need to. I'll watch out for my wallet. Yeah, right? And the other thing is, I believe they announced in the European Direct that Shovel Knight is finally going to be available in that region as of today. So my advice to all of you European viewers is go download it right now, because it's one of my favorite games of the year, and that's all I have to say.
I think this was a fantastic Direct. They focused on a lot of the newer games. I thought they would spend a little bit more time talking about games coming out this winter. They really didn't do that. They didn't focus too much on Smash. They didn't focus too much on Captain Toad. They didn't bring up Pokemon at all. And It was all about what's coming this next year. And I am excited. Nintendo is really on a roll here, and I cannot wait to just play all of these games.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see Nintendo going with a classic Nintendo Direct. We haven't had one of these in a while. We've had a lot of very focused ones on specific games, but I don't think we've had actually a proper Direct since E3, if you want to count that. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if there's going to be more coming up here in the near future. So I definitely want to see more of these games.
Yeah, same here.
Alright, well I think that wraps it up for us here, so thanks for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, as you can find links to in the description below. It's just a good way to keep up to date on everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for tons more on everything you saw here, plus our preview coverage coming up and other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.